The main purpose of this is introduction is to introduce you to Papua New Guinea rock art. For many people, they know about Australia's magnificent and incredible rock art heritage, but very few people are aware that Papua New Guinea has also got a rock art heritage. This paper is now a flow on from a paper that Robin Torrance, Ken Mulvaney and myself published last month on 4 sites in New Britain in Papua New Guinea, and flows on also from a paper published last year by Roxanne Sang and her colleagues at Griffith University, the Papua New Guinea University of Papua New Guinea, and other institutions. In Roxanne's case, she was dealing with painted sites. I'm going to be talking today about engraved sites. There are 4 sites in what was our study that was published. I'm only going to concentrate on Malapapua, one of them, with reference to 2 sites on Uniapa, which I won't distinguish, just call them by their island name, and a site on Garua Island over on the eastern side of this peninsula. These sites, this area from Garua through to what we over to here is all part of what we call an interaction zone, where communication was frequent in the past and the present between communities, with visits by people from Uniapa to communities along this coast, and from the Siassi Islands around here, and also from Tami Island down the bottom here, which isn't marked, which also used to visit this area. I'll be talking about Malapapua as a single site, although it is divided into 4 sections. The orange, of course, is marking the boulders with decoration. You'll notice that some of these boulders form lines, and maybe some more clearly than others. There are 109 boulders recorded, and I should add, by the way, that this recording was done in 1967 in a 5-day period between during my visit to the Kilengi villages at the invitation of an anthropologist. I happened to be on the way to my pre-doctoral fieldwork site in Buka, so I didn't have time to spend it in make a detailed study of the site. Here we see on the top photograph a view towards the group 2 and group 1 on top of the hill on which Malapapua sits. You will see along the line here a row of boulders. This is what I meant by there seem to be alignments of boulders. This is very clearly seen on this lower picture here, where we have actually 5 boulders in a row. They look as though they've been arranged deliberately according to size and shape. I would also point out that each has one decorated surface, and it is facing inwards towards this road. And the same over here, the decoration faces inwards towards the road. The road is actually the remnant of a road constructed by US Marines in 1943, when they had the invasion of Cape Gloucester to displace Japanese who were entrenched there. The road, however, did not destroy the site, although it did cause some damage and rearrangement of a few boulders. Moving on to the actual decorated boulders, I'm going to discuss these in 2 groups. One of them, motifs which are shared with the other 3 sites of our study, and in some cases well beyond that area. And the second group will be those which are not studied. The group that is shared is dominated by curvilinear designs. We have spirals, circles, concentric circles, and down here cup and ring, and in the center curved design in conjunction with various rectilinear elements. And next to that boulder, and also on the right, you'll see there are triangles. Now, these circular elements, curvilinear elements, occur on Uniapa Island and Garua. On the left is Garua Island, and the man here, the late Robert Mondle, is standing at the main focus point of the rock art site, and below him is a 40-meter cliff. This site is right on the edge of that cliff, as you can see in this upper photograph. Over on Uniapa, this site has been severely rearranged by road building and village activities, although I think that when you get boulders as large as some of them, the likelihood of them being moved casually is very low. Now, in addition to those curvilinear designs, the Malapapua site shares with Uniapa Island the presence of stone heads. Now, on the left, extreme left, you see what I consider to be a blank for a stone head of the type in the left center with the face looking at you. Then you note that each has a ridge around the top and a flat top and an almost square top. They're deliberately shaped. Now, on the right here, we have a boulder, Malapapua, where the face, a head, has been carved onto the end of the boulder with eyes, and the face is outlined. There's a chin down here, and you can't see it, but there are also some wavy lines coming down here. Now, that reminds me of this one, this head on Uniapa Island, where the face is depicted somewhat differently, but the same structure of a face on the end of the boulder with the wavy lines down the side. But what that represents, I don't know. You will note on this particular boulder these holes here. These are what we call cupules. These are humanly made holes in the volcanic rock. For a long time, people thought these were just natural vesicles in the lava, gas from within the lava. But it is clear now that these are of human origin, frequently described as nut cracking holes. But you try cracking a nut when you're dealing with a hole on the side here. Or even on the underhang of a boulder. How these boulders were, so how the cupules were created, it's not clear. Obviously, some large boulders, such as the one on the right here, there's a flat surface on top of the boulder. That was easy. Now, before we move further, I want to point out this on the left-hand side, an area of abrasion. This is a smooth area, quite contrasting with the rough surface of the natural boulder. And you'll see in over here in this boulder from Uniapa, whoops, sorry, and these cupules have been put onto a surface which looks as though it might have been also abraded. These cupules and the curvilinear designs seem to have been arranged so they take up separate parts of the boulder surfaces. The one here, Ken Mulvaney has drawn up on Garua Island, shows all of the cupules on top of the boulder, and then around the four sides you have the curvilinear designs. They do not encroach on the cupules, and this is a recurrent pattern. And one explanation may be that the cupules were there first and the curvilinear designs were done later, or there was something special about the cupules that made that space or protected that space from further intrusions. Let us move on then to motifs that are not shared between the Malapapua site and the other sites. On the top row, you will see three motifs that were described by the local people in 1967 as representing their ceremonial masks. And I have to agree that from what little I know of their masks, they certainly do look like them. On the bottom, we have a face. This kind of face on the left is fairly common in the Papua New Guinea and Islands region. But when we move to the middle there, these curvilinear abstract design, I'm not going to try to put a name on these. You can guess what they might be. We don't know. But they also recall some other areas of Papua New Guinea, but not Uniapa or Garawa. If we move over to the right, bottom right, you'll see two circular, a spiral motif and a circle motif. And at the end of that boulder is an indistinct motif that looks suspiciously as though it has been partly erased. And this raises the question of whether sometimes the surfaces were reworked to insert new designs as and when they were required. And going back to that previous boulder with the braided area, it raises a question whether that was being prepared for a new motif. Now, also not shared between Malapapua and the other sites are these as a set of animal representations. We have a turtle, a fish, a bird. On the right top, you can't see it clearly, but there seems to be a pig depicted there. And on the bottom right, there is a snake. At the right hand end of the zigzag line, there is definite triangular head. Now, the pig is important if this is an indicator of age. Pigs are not endemic to the New Guinea region. They were introduced seemingly around about 3,200 or so years ago. So this places a maximum age for depiction of the pig, and also for what I interpret as a pair of boar's tusks, which form near circles and are a common and very important part of the adornment of important men who wore them and still do today in ceremonial situations, or as on the right hand side, the man is wearing one to show his status. Now, this is the most important boulder of the entire site. It is around about 1.6 meters long, over a meter high, wide, and it's just crowded with designs. The motifs include 4 birds. 3 of them are megapodes in my interpretation, one here, one on the top right, and one in the middle left. These 2 are on the side of a spiral, and on the bottom part of that spiral is another bird, which is, in my interpretation, representing a cassowary. You notice the long neck and the shape of the head, and also the long legs. Whereas these megapodes are life-size, this cassowary, which is the dwarf cassowary, the only one in a form of cassowary on New Britain, is also an introduced species. Normally would grow much higher than the depiction on this particular boulder. Contrasting with that crowded boulder is this one, where it seems to me that a large section of this boulder was carefully braided to create a flat surface on which 2 megapodes have been depicted back to back. this is an utterly off the limit kind of depiction. I don't know of any other in the Pacific Islands, or rather the Papua New Guinea region. To sum up, I'm going through this fairly quickly, so I hope I haven't lost you. We have motifs that are shared between Malapapua, Uniapa and Garoa, suggesting that these will have either in contact a long time, or that the rock art all descends from the same tradition. But then we have individual characteristics at Malapapua which set it apart very strikingly from Garoa, and but not so strikingly different from Uniapa, except within terms of the animals. Now, they're going back to my beginning when I referred to interaction zones and the connectedness. This is a map produced by Dylan Gaffney and Glenn Summerhays about the trading links from the Madang area, where making pottery over the last 500 and 600 years, and the links of these traders all the way through these islands. Also, the links from the Siassi Islands to the mainland and New Britain, and from Tami Island, another trading centre. We have here an area of quite intense interaction, and it's not perhaps surprising that we get then similarities in rock art over a large area. But what is interesting is that despite the similarities, there are distinctive differences that distinguish each of the three main areas that we studied in our paper. With that, I would like to just close with this is how people got around. This is a canoe which arrived at the Kilengi villages when I was doing the field work, and that had arrived in the Siassi Islands bringing a pig, clay pots, and as you can see on the back here of the behind the mast, wooden bowls from the Siassi Islands to trade for various goods to take back to the Siassi Islands, and from there some of it would be re-exported to the mainland of New Guinea. On that note, I would thank you for listening and close with Robin's field crew. I only tended to work by myself or one or two other people, but Robin has a full-size crew. And in closing, I would like to offer my thanks for the funding and the research permits which have been issued over the years to us. Thank you very much.